Hi Nathan, thank you for your time. Now, you head up a new political party called Flux. Can you tell the viewers a bit about the party's background, where it's at and where it's going?
Absolutely, Shane. So Flux is really more than just a political party. It's more of a movement of political expression. We recognise that the political system that we use today is letting down a lot of Australians. It's shutting out a lot of important voices in our community that just aren't being heard because they're not part of the two competing major political parties. And we recognise that in the 21st century, we're going to need a system that's really going to enfranchise voters and engage the community at large to really participate in politics. Where we've come from, Flux was really an idea that came out of seeing minor parties and smaller organisations compete at election time and really struggle to have their voices heard after polling day. And so it was this idea and seeing that there might be a way to enfranchise smaller groups that led to the creation of Flux. Because Flux is really a system that will allow smaller voices to be heard regardless of whether they make it into Parliament or not. Right now we're sitting at nearly 3,000 members. Hopefully today we'll hit that milestone. If you put that in perspective, the Greens are something like 13,000 members over almost 20 years of being in politics, and we've been around for maybe 6 months. So we're growing really, really fast. We're contesting the federal election this year on July 2nd and will appear above the line on the Senate paper in every state. So we really think that this is the right solution for democracy today, not just for this country, but indeed for the world. And we're doing everything we can to hopefully instantiate it as a form of government in this country.
Now, your party gives every voter the opportunity to vote on all legislation before the government. How will they actually vote on an iPhone, on a smartphone, or can they vote on their computer at home?
Yep. So the primary means of voting will be via an app on the smartphone. In its first instance, there will be probably other ways that we will enact that later. It might look like terminals in a public place so that people who don't have access to that kind of technology can access it in a public place and log in with the hardware we provide. The idea is that, as you rightly said, everyone gets to vote on every single issue if they so choose. And we also have some other features that enable people to specialise in policy areas. And the idea is that we want Australians who really are passionate about the things that they understand to have as much impact as possible about an area of politics that they really feel engaged with, rather than trusting a policy generalist like politicians that we have today who go from one portfolio to the next, that we don't think particularly very good at making policy for this country. So the idea really is about enfranchising ordinary people who deeply understand and care about a particular policy area to have as much impact as possible.
Now, if issues aren't on the political agenda, or they aren't up for a vote in the government, how can they get those issues that they feel passionate about on the agenda? Say, for example, a Royal Commission to the banks or a Royal Commission into the judiciary?
Well, Flux is a system that is going to make good ideas from small voices easy to gain traction. So what that looks like is that if you say you have a group of people who care deeply about something that maybe isn't being discussed in political discourse, and they raise that issue within the Flux ecosystem, provided that other people either A, agree with it, or B, don't disagree with it, and have no reason to compete against it, we can give small ideas big traction. And there is, I guess, a lot of sort of technical theory that goes with that, but the idea is that we can introduce legislation from the disenfranchised without an enormous barrier. So whilst, of course, we'll introduce every bill that comes before the Senate via the traditional mechanisms of producing legislation, we'll also be able to propose legislation from our membership.
Now, you have the federal election coming up in 2 weeks. Obviously, you've got candidates in every state for the Senate. What elections after the federal election are you looking at?
So this year there is the ACT Legislative Assembly election. That'll be in October, which we absolutely intend to contest. And then early next year we have the WA election, which we'll also contest. So Flux for us is really something that we see as a very long-term plan. We know that you can't walk into the political paradigm and flip it on its head in one election. We have absolutely every intention to stick around for as long as it takes to make this system something that really every single Australian is engaged with.
If people want to join your party, how do they do it? And if they want to volunteer on election day, how do they do that as well?
So our website is voteflux.org. From there we have links to our community forum, which is just community.voteflux.org. We have an awesome community of volunteers that is building up all around the country, not just in the major cities, but in small cities, even in rural areas. So these are people who really, really genuinely believe about bringing about a new age of democracy in this country, and we're doing everything that we can, as an organisation, to enfranchise others to go forward and carry this message. So for anyone looking to get involved, our website is the best place to start, and the forum the next, and there are plenty of people to help bring you on board and get you making an effort in the right direction for this country.
Thank you for your time, Nathan, and good luck in the federal election.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, Shane. Cheers.